Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time. It's about time we begin to tell the American story. It's about time we lift our heads up. Get the hell up and take back the country. It's about who we are. It's about dreaming again. Dreaming again. It's about possibilities. Remember, this is the United States of America, unlike any country in the world. And that's not hyperbole. So let's take it back and lead the world.
Straight out of an Aaron Sorkin movie. I got chills. Joe Biden doing what he does best, adding some oomph to the Democratic messaging, now 2 weeks short of the midterms. And as we get into crunch time, a few bits of good news for the Democrats. For starters, it seems Republicans are resigned to losing the House. Axios reporting, quote, despite seeing some positive signs in polling and enthusiasm after Kavanaugh's confirmation, Republicans' behavior in the last few weeks shows how nervous they are about keeping control of the House. Between the lines, the lack of confidence is showing up in where GOP groups aren't spending money and how the Republican blame game is unfolding between Trump and GOP operatives, all in anticipation of losing the House. And the numbers bear that out. The Cook Political Report today says, quote, Democrats now have a clear advantage in 17 GOP-held seats and Republicans have an advantage in 2 Democratic-held seats. If the 30 toss-ups break evenly, Democrats would score a net gain of 29 seats, 6 more than the 23 they need to retake the majority. Jonathan and Tim are here. Donna and Charlie are here. So, Charlie, I talked to 3 Republican pollsters yesterday who said that losing the House is a foregone conclusion for Republicans and that it doesn't matter in terms of control whether Democrats win by 1 or 30.
Well, anyone who says they know what's going to happen on election night 2 weeks from now, I think is probably being somewhat disingenuous. I think this is a very, very uncertain environment here. And I do think that overconfidence would not be a good strategy for the Democrats, particularly as you see Republican enthusiasm ticking up. Now, again, what we don't know are about these voters who may be coming to the polls for the very first time. This may, in fact, make a lot of the public polling we're seeing completely obsolete. But I don't know. I mean, I feel that this is going to be quite a barn burner. There's a lot more uncertainty than I would have said, say, a month or so ago.
Donna Edwards, let me show you some of the Democrats and their closing messages. They seem to be connected to what we're seeing in terms of high voter turnout in early voting in these states.
What my grandmother was communicating to me was that it wasn't just about me. It's about all of us. And in Trump's America, we've been led to believe that we've got to step on our neighbor's shoulder in their face and their backs in order to get ahead. Well, I reject that. And we have an opportunity on November 6th as a collective, as a state, to say we deserve better.
That's the theme of our campaign. Yeah. Our voices, say our voices.
Our voices.
Our voices become our votes, say our votes.
Our votes.
Because this is our time, say our time.
Our time.
Our voices.
Our
votes.
Our
time.
Our time.
Let's go get it done.
And we, at this moment, that the country's never been more divided, more polarized, more riven by partisanship and bitterness and smallness. We're going to be the big, bold, confident, strong, courageous answer to all of that. We're going to bring this country together through our leadership here in Texas.
Donna, I don't know how any of those races are going to turn out, but to say that the Democrats don't have a message would be a falsehood. They have the same message Biden has about taking back the country, about speaking to our better angels. John Meacham has written at least one book about that in terms of our history. I mean, I don't know why Democrats are getting kicked around so much. They seem decidedly on message and the right one.
I agree, and I think that what you just showed was the future of the Democratic Party, and Andrew Gillum and Stacey Abrams, Beto O'Rourke, who are really inspiring people to show up to the polls. And the key, of course, for Democrats is going to be get your turnout. You know, make sure your voters show up to vote. And we've already seen some indications that, you know, voting is going to be on par to a presidential election. And this is a time where Democrats need to just be focused on the goal and never mind all this national conversation, but a real positive message going into these next 2 weeks and turning voters out. And I think that you're going to see not just the House flip, but I think a lot of these Senate races, in fact, are going to be closer than we've seen.
Tim, one of the greatest mythologies of the Trump era is the size and power of his base. They were not big enough for Trump to write a speech for the possibility that he would have won on election night.
Right. And he's done nothing to extend his reach beyond that base because his comfort zone.
No, you don't Caravan and white nationalism?
No, that's not going to do it beyond those guys. He's stuck.
You think grab him in the bleep was sort of a cap?
Yeah, that was narrowing.
Yeah,
that was super narrowing,
me
especially
too.
in the suburbs. I think we know why women have turned out in this vote
Yeah.
for the Democrats. I think, however, you know what? It's curious to me that younger voters and Hispanic and Latino voters don't seem to be as incentivized as female voters on the Democratic side of the ledger.
Well, they're not regular voters.
They're not regular voters, particularly at the midterms. But I also think there's some recognition within those cohorts that the Democrats still aren't speaking to them. I think that's something the Democratic Party has to fix if it wants to widen its base. The interesting with Trump and his narrow casting is he only has one game and he only has one message. It's about himself. It's about white guys. It's about fear of the other. And around all that, he'll bake this halo of bogus facts.
Real quick. And Trump likes it that way.
No, that is what Trump likes that way. And the White House is projecting some confidence here. They feel like they're going to hold on to the Senate for sure. Yes, they know the House is an uphill climb, but they're not ruling it out entirely.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.